Right, so today we're talking about creating your business plan. So I don't know if anyone has a business plan or doesn't have a business plan. Oh, that's what I was going to say as well. Before we start, if you put your cameras on mute, just so it records the slideshow, because if you make noise in the background, it'll record you instead, so people will miss it. And then when we get to the end, if you've got any questions, then we'll go through all the questions at the end. Or if you want to pop questions in the chat, you can pop questions in the chat as well. So I don't know who's got a business plan and who hasn't got a business plan. I didn't have a business plan for years, and I've run businesses since I was about 18. I've only ever been self-employed, really. So I've always had a business plan. I've always had a business, but I've never had a business plan until like recent years. And although you don't essentially need it to run a business, you do run a well more efficient business when you've actually sat down and thought about it and done a proper business plan. So I would highly recommend doing one. And then obviously in the future, if your business grows and you're planning on getting investors involved and stuff like that, then you've got something to show. Or if you're planning on going for loans and things like that from a bank, then again, you've already got it. You've got it all written out and it's ready to go. And you can adjust it as you go along. So basically, what is your business plan? It's just a document, a written down document of all your business's long and short-term goals. So we're talking about, as performers, our performing business, but you could use this for any business. It makes no difference. And also how you're going to plan to achieve it. So it's going to help you to focus on what steps are necessary to achieve success. It's going to identify potential weaknesses, which we've talked about this week as well. And then it's going to help you to communicate with potential investors in the future, or banks, or whatever, people who are going to invest money into your business. So these are all the things that you need to have in your business plan. We have an executive summary, a company overview, industry analysis, competitive analysis, products and services list, marketing plan, distribution plan, operations plan, management team, financial plan, and your exit strategy. So we're going to go through every single one of those things today. So we're going to start with your executive summary. Now, this is like an overall view of everything that's going on with your business. So basically, it's at the beginning, but you're going to write your executive summary last, because you need to do all the other work first before you can write this. Okay, so this is an overview of the whole thing, really. So basically, in your executive summary, you want to be saying who you are, who you serve. So who is your client? Who do you want to work for? What do you offer? Where are you located? When did you start that business? Why have you got your business? What's the point in it? What's it for? And what is your competitive edge? So your competitive edge is basically what makes you stand out from other people. Why should somebody invest in your business compared to somebody who's doing the same kind of thing? So that we're going to write that at the end, so let's not worry about that for a minute. Let's start off with your company overview. So this is looking at your company as a whole, your business as a whole. So that's you, if you're a performer. If you run a different kind of business, so a lot of people in this group are dance teachers and things like that as well. So you might be running a dance studio. It will be about your dance studio, okay? So you want to be saying when you were formed. So basically, what date did you become a business? What legal entity you are. So are you a self-employed sole trader? Are you a limited company? Like, what are you? For me, I work for myself, so I'm a sole trader. And even though I've had lots of different dance studios in the past, I've always been a sole trader. And then your accomplishments to date, like what have you actually done in your business already? What achievements and milestones have you already hit up to now? So have a little think about that. For me, I would say I was formed, if we were doing it for me as Kitty Campari, it would be, my business was formed 6 years ago. I'm a sole trader, and my accomplishments to date would be that I'm a professional performer. I've worked in circuses, I've worked all over the UK, run my own business, now coach performers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So that's all you need to say. You don't have to say loads of stuff in that one. Then we're going to move on to your market analysis. Okay, so this is basically you looking at how saturated the market is for whatever you're doing. So for us, we're talking about performing. So you'd be looking at how many other performers there are that do the same kind of thing as you. Yeah. Is it oversaturated? Is there loads of opportunity? Like, you want to have a really good look at that. Personally, I really don't believe in oversaturation of markets, because I feel like people just choose who they want to choose. And if they want to choose you, they'll choose you. It doesn't matter if there's like a million other people who do the exact same thing as you. If people want to book you, they're going to book you. So don't really believe in this whole oversaturation thing. I think everybody has their own little thing that they can offer. And if somebody wants that, they're going to go for that, regardless of however many people are doing exactly the same thing. So you want to be looking at who's your target market. Who are you aiming at getting bookings with? So for me, my target market is corporate events. That's what I like to do. Maybe your target market is small burlesque shows. Maybe your target market is you want to work in circuses. Maybe your target market is that you want to do festivals. It can literally be anything. It's your choice, but you've got to work out what your target market is. And you can have multiple. You don't have to have one, but you do have to think which is your primary one, which is your main one that you really want to go for. So obviously I do lots of different types of performing. I perform in nightclubs and I perform at festivals, but my primary target market is corporate events. That's what I like to do. So that is my main focus. But if I see other jobs that I like, or if I get another job that is different from that, it doesn't mean that I can't do it just because I've chosen that as my target market. It's just that that's where my primary focus is going to be. Second, you need to decide what their needs are. So basically, if you're offering acts, you need to identify which shows need your kind of act. So for example, I do corporate events, don't I? Because I've got a giant martini glass. So I'll look at like Gatsby events and things like that and be like, they need my act because it's going to look amazing in their show or at their event. If you've got an act and let's say you're seeing lots of non-diverse lineups, but you're LGBTQ or you're a performer of colour or whatever, then you can identify that as their need and say, look, I've got this act, I could diversify your show, why don't you book me? They're the kind of things that you want to be looking at. You're kind of solving a problem for them. Then number 3, what is your ideal client avatar? That's a really fancy way of saying, who do you want to work for? Like, who are they? So for me, I normally work for producers or agents. If it's a corporate event, it's usually an agent. So my ideal client, I have to think about, where do agents hang out? Yeah, I want to know about all these things. Would be more if I was like selling a product. So their gender, their age, their hobbies and interests are important because you want to know where you're going to find them. And where I'm going to find mine is in burlesque groups or in dance groups or performer groups or whatever. Salary, that doesn't really matter in this instance. Location does, however, matter, doesn't it? Because if you're a performer up in Scotland and you're only finding ideal clients in London, that's going to be a bit of a ball ache for you. So you've got to start thinking about, where is your ideal client, i.e. the person that you want to work for, going to be hanging out? Where are you going to find them? On social media, but also in real life. So if you're going to shows, then you're going to meet producers, the people who have produced these shows. That's going to get you a foot in the door. I'm always saying things like that, aren't I? If you're going taking workshops with established performers who also produce shows, again, that's going to get you a foot in the door. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about finding out who your ideal client is and working out how you can connect with them. And then number 4, is this market viable? Is it rising? Is it declining? Is it oversaturated? Like I said, I totally don't believe in oversaturation. If you've got an act, your act is going to be different from other people's. Even if you're a burlesque performer, every single one of us are all going to have totally different acts from each other. So people are going to choose who they're going to want to choose. You've just got to make sure you get seen and you get your act in front of people so people know that it's there. Okay. So competitive analysis. So basically, you're just looking at who your direct competitors are, who is your competition. And like I've just said, I really don't believe in the whole competition thing because people choose who they want to choose. But for the purposes of this, we're going to look at people who are our direct competitors. So for me, I'm a martini glass performer. So my direct competitors would be anybody who's got a martini glass. So it's going to be people like Jolie Papillon, Isabella Bliss, Ginger LaRouge. They're all the people that are going to be going for the same jobs as me. Okay. But essentially, people are going to choose me if they want me, and they're going to choose one of them if they want them. We've all got different things going on, even though we do the same thing. Then you're going to identify who your indirect competitors are. So your indirect competitors are more so things that would stop people going to watch shows, i.e. staying at home watching Netflix. So Netflix would be a direct competitor, indirect competitor, sorry. Or basically any other kind of thing that would take people away from seeing your act. So maybe, I don't know, people who do pre-recorded shows, that could be an indirect competitor. Or going to the theatre would be an indirect competitor. Yeah. So you just need to identify that. It's not massively relevant for us, that, because we're performers, aren't we? But you need to have it in there just in case. And then what's your competitive advantage? Like, what makes you better than somebody else? Or not so much better, but what makes you different from somebody else? So for me, there's loads of us that have got martini glass acts, but mine is more like cutesy, whereas others might be more raunchy. So if it's more of an event where it's not really appropriate to have a raunchy martini glass act, then I'm probably going to get that job. Whereas if it's in a fetish club, I'm not going to get that job because I'm not that kind of performer. So you just have to know what your competitive advantage is and play to your strengths. Don't be applying for jobs that don't play to your competitive advantage. It's pointless me applying for jobs in like fetish clubs or alternative clubs, because that's just not what I've got going on. So there's no point. I'm wasting my time because I'm not going to get those jobs. And then how can you redirect the attention from your competition? So for example, how can we make people see us to book us instead of other people? And that's really the kind of thing that I'm always talking about, like making sure people are seeing you all the time on your social media, building up like, know, and trust factors by using your social media. You might buy a big prop that nobody else has got, like a bespoke prop that would redirect attention from your competition because no one else has got one of those. Like, they're your kind of things that you're looking at. So have a little think how you could stand out in the crowd, basically. Right, marketing. So 3 types of marketing strategies. So you've got promotional marketing. So that's like old school flyers, business cards, stuff like that, newspapers, magazines, PR. PR and magazines, yeah, you're probably still going to use, but flyers, you're probably not going to use that. Or business cards occasionally, maybe. I don't think I've ever given a business card out in the whole time that I've been a performer. Because now we've got our social media, so we don't really need that kind of thing. Digital marketing is basically email marketing and website SEO. So again, I don't really do that for performing, but I do it for my other businesses. So you have to figure out what's the best kind of marketing for you. So if you do email marketing, for example, you're collecting people's email data and then sending them a weekly email. That's really good if you're selling products, or it's really good if you're selling a service. But if you're selling your act, I don't think producers would appreciate a weekly blanket email to them personally. That would be my personal advice, but you can do it however you want to do it. And then obviously social media marketing, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all those. And that would be the one that I would say for a performer is the best one by miles. I don't think I've ever got a job that I haven't received through Facebook or through Instagram. Like, in the whole time I've been performing, I've always got those jobs through Facebook groups with me applying for them, or now because I've built up a good reputation and people know who I am, often people just drop in my inbox and will be like, do you want to apply for this show? I need a martini glass performer. And then I'll just get given it, basically. So that's kind of the level that you want to get at. Once you start building your socials and people know who you are, people start coming to you then, and you don't have to be sending off endless emails to people. It's been absolutely ages since I've ever sent an application off to anybody, because normally people just drop into my inbox and are like, oh, I've got this martini glass job, do you want to do it? And then I just do it. Or I've got this aerial job, do you want to do it? So it just becomes a lot easier. There's a lot less boring paperwork involved. Right, so products and services list. So this is basically going to be the list of all the things you offer, i.e. your acts list. If you're a teacher as well, all the things that you teach. If you do workshops, all your workshops, whatever, okay? So you want to make sure that you've got a list of all your different acts. And like I always say to you, you want footage, don't you, of those, and pictures of those, so that when you're sending off your applications, you're sending that list off as well, okay? So a product is a tangible item that you can hold. So that would be like when you're selling merchandise, so that's your product, but your service is the things that you're offering. So your services are your acts, my services are my act or my coaching or my time, whatever, okay? Right, so management team. So now we're thinking a little bit about who is in your team. If you're just starting out, there probably isn't anyone in your team except you, and that's totally fine, okay? But as you grow, you're going to start wanting, like I was talking about yesterday, to outsource things to other people because you're too busy, or you don't want to be doing all the like shitty jobs, so you want to outsource it to somebody else. Like I have a cleaner because I don't like cleaning. I'm about to get a VA because I'm getting sick of sending emails and stuff like that. I don't really enjoy that part of it. So then I'm just going to outsource it to somebody else. Social media manager, tech as well. I hate tech. So I've got a website designer, and the website designer does all the tech stuff for me because I don't really know what I'm doing. Costume makers. If you're not very good at making your own costumes, you're just going to outsource it to somebody else. So who's on your team needs to go in your business plan. And there might not be anyone yet, but as you grow, there probably is going to be. Are there any gaps in your team? So what could you do with that would be really helpful? If you're low on finances, is it worth getting a business loan? And I can't really answer that for you, I don't think. I think that's a personal choice. So I wouldn't want to say yeah or no, but you are a business. So if you're planning on thinking of yourself as a business, let's say you were going to open a restaurant, right? And you really believed in that this restaurant was going to be successful and that you were going to put your heart and soul into it, you probably would go out and get a business loan, wouldn't you? Like to start yourself off, or you would look for grants or funding of some description. Yeah, you wouldn't just off the cuff try and open a restaurant with like 20 quid in your bank. That's probably not what you're going to do. So I can't say, yeah, go out and get a business loan. But if you're really seriously thinking about yourself as a business, then why not? Like, it's up to you really, isn't it, what you want to do with that? But I would say if you're thinking of doing it seriously and you're really thinking of expanding, because you're a teacher as well, aren't you? So if you're a teacher as well and you're thinking of expanding that business, then there's nothing wrong with loans. Like debt can be used in a really good way to leverage and grow things. So, but you'd have to sit down and really seriously think about it and talk about it with people who are close to you, who you trust, and also speak to the bank about it and stuff like that. So I wouldn't want to give you advice on that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a loan out. I think it's can be a great thing, really. Right, operations. So basically this is all the stuff that goes on in the everyday today running of your business. So for me, the everyday running of my business would be I go to the gym because I need to go to the gym to keep fit because I'm a performer. I go training. So I need to go training because that's important for my business. I sit down and I go through the finance of the business to see who's signing up. So like, what new clients have I got? On a Wednesday, I have classes all day. So that would be, so the structure of those classes would need to go in there. What am I doing all day on a Wednesday? When do I send out my emails? When do I run my launch weeks? When do I do my one-to-ones? Like, all that stuff would go in my operations. So anything to do with your business would go in there. If you're a teacher, obviously classes would go in there. If you're a performer, anything that you do to do with performing, when do you make your costumes? Do you have a plan, or is it just off the cuff? Like, it's probably, if you're like me, it's probably just off the cuff. Mine's very off the cuff and I just make it up as I go along. But that's probably not what they're going to want to hear in a business plan. So you're probably going to have to put some kind of like structure to your days that says like, I do this and I do this and I do this, and this is how I'm moving my business forward. I think Shaz has just wrote something. Hang on. From experience only, I had a business loan when we opened a salon for equipment, and then my sewing business I started as a hobby. Yeah, I opened a dance studio and I never took a loan out for that, because I just saved up some money over time. I'd been a dance teacher for a long time, all the way through uni, but I don't see anything wrong with taking out a business loan, and I would take out a business loan now if I saw potential in a business and I really needed to. I would, because I think you can grow your business really well, but you do have to obviously sit down and make sure you can make the repayments and be sure that it's going to work, etc. Right, so let's talk about your financial plan. Okay, so your financial plan is basically what are you doing? How are you making your money? Are you running a website where people subscribe to it to watch you perform? Are you going out and physically performing? Like, what are you doing? So most of us are going to be going out and physically performing at events. So our revenue model is that we're selling our acts and then we're invoicing those people so that they can pay us. That's basically what we're going to do. Then we also want to know who we're selling to. So we've talked about that already. You're selling to producers, aren't you? Or you're selling to agents, or you're not selling to the public unless you're running your own show. Yeah, you're selling to the person who books you, and then they sell to the public. And then how much for? That's a list of your acts and the fees. Okay, so I know fee setting is a really difficult thing for people, but it is a massive topic. So I'm not going to talk about it today because it's huge, but there are some videos on YouTube, and also there's a whole section, of course, on how to set your fees. So if you choose to do that, you're going to do that in that. But also there's loads of little videos on the YouTube channel and in the announcement section as well. You want to talk about your financial highlights. So what great things have happened to you financially in your business. So you might have done a really good job somewhere, and so for example, you might have got your first like 300 quid job or something. That would be a financial highlight. Yeah, you might have got your first contract where you got regular payments. It wasn't like freelance. That would be a financial highlight. So you want to put in all your financial highlights. You might not have any yet because you might not have actively started performing, but you're going to update this business plan as you go along. So you don't have to have that stuff in there right from the beginning. But as you do start earning money, that would go in there. So your first payment, your first paid job would be a financial highlight. Yeah. Then your projections, what are you expecting to make? So you would definitely, if you were going for a loan, this would be your section where you've really got to have it all nailed down. So your projections, what are you going to make out of this business? So how many times can you perform a week? How much are you going to be charging? Multiply that, then you know how much you're going to make per month or per year. Yeah, so if you're doing it, if you're saying, for example, I'm going to charge £100 per act, and I can do 2 nights a week, and so therefore 2 acts, so I'm going to have £200 each week. So therefore you multiply that by 4, you get an £800 a month. And then you can multiply it by 12, then you know how much you're getting for the year. So that's how you're going to work out your projections. You're going to work out your projections like that, but you're also going to go, well, if I did 3 jobs a week, then I would make 300. So now I'm making £1,200 a month and I'm making this amount per year. So if you put different amounts where you can put what you're doing now, but what you intend to do in the future as well. Yeah. Then you've got funding requirements. So are you asking for funding? Again, if you're asking for a loan here, how much are you asking for? Why do you need that amount? What are you using it for? Like, what are you investing it in? What's going to be the return on investment? So that would be for investors, really, not for a bank loan. The bank just know that they're getting their money back, don't they? But if people were choosing to invest in your business, then they would want to know what they're getting back out of it. Yeah. And then the bit of morbid bit is the exit strategy. So even though you're only starting your business out now, you want to be thinking about, before you even start it, what would be your exit strategy, particularly if you were going into a partnership with somebody else. So say you're a duo and you're going to be a partnership, you have to know what your exit strategy is. For example, if one of you dies or chooses to leave or whatever, do you get to keep the name or not? What happens? What happens to the profits that you've made? Do you get to keep them or not? Like, you would have to have all that in writing before you started out. Yeah. I mean, a lot of us are just working for ourselves as our self-performers. So if I died tomorrow, obviously Kitty Campari doesn't exist anymore and I wouldn't be able to sell it on. But for my coaching business, that's different. If tomorrow I wasn't very well, then all my coaching clients, I wouldn't just want them just to not have any more coaching anymore. So I would obviously have someone in the back of my mind that I could potentially sell my business onto. Yeah. So if you're a dance teacher, that would be something I would be thinking about. I had a dance school, which I did sell at one point. And I sold that to somebody that had always worked for me. So that was always in my mind. I knew that I was going to sell that business one day. I wasn't going to do it forever. And I always knew that I was always going to want to sell it to somebody who was already involved in that business. That was part of my exit strategy. I didn't just want to sell it to any old person and then it not be run in the same way that it used to be run. So just have a little think about that. Obviously, that's not a massive thing right now, but as your business grows, is there any way that you'd be able to pass that on to somebody else? Yeah. So that's going to be different. If you're a performer and you're just working on your own, obviously, when you don't want to do it anymore, you can't pass it on to somebody else, can you? But you might want to think about what would you do with all your costumes? Would you sell them to other performers? Like, those kind of things need to go in your exit strategy. So I think that's it. I'm gonna stop the share. Okay, so if you enjoyed the business plan talk and you've got any questions or you're stuck on anything, please drop me a message and I will answer any questions that you've got. I just want to tell you a little bit about our course that is coming up, which starts on the 9th and 10th of May. So every year, twice a year, I run the step-by-step Showgirl Success Strategy course. And basically, that runs you through everything that you need business-wise to become a professional performer. So we start with branding, we run through how to market yourself and how to find the people that you want to be working for. So I know I talk about that a lot on the free groups, but I will actually show you how to do it properly and we will find those people that you want to actually be working for together. We also do social media, loads of mindset stuff, because you know I'm obsessed with that. I teach you how to do your risk assessments, invoices, how to do basic bookkeeping, and basically all the essential things that you need. I'll teach you how to send applications off and make them look really, really professional. All the things that you need to get yourself started, because I know loads of people keep saying in the group, I don't know where to start. This is like a perfect opportunity of where to start. So the course, if you want to do the 8-week course, that runs from the 9th and 10th, and that is £297. However, there is a discount code for that, which is Showgirl, all capital letters, 100, and you'll get £100 off. Now, if that's too expensive, all in one go, you can join the Gold Goddesses version of our membership and get one module a month of the Showgirl Success Strategy. So after 7 months, you'll get the whole thing. Yeah. So it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to join, you don't have to, obviously. But I will pop all the links below. So if you want to join the course, the actual Zoom course where we're going to be all sitting and chatting together, I'll pop the link below. If you want to join the membership, you have to join the Gold Goddesses version though to get the course. The other versions don't have it in. So the bronze version has loads of dance tutorials, loads of business tutorials, mindset tutorials that are all pre-recorded in a vault, and that's $24.99. And then the step up from that, the silver one, is all those things, plus you get a quarterly one-to-one with me. So we'll start out and we'll sit down and have a one-to-one and do a proper plan for you. And then the gold version, you get all those things, plus you get 50% off any other courses, and you get the step-by-step Showgirl Success Strategy included, but you'll only get one module a month, okay? And that will go into your vault, and then you'll have it for as long as you remember, okay? So if you want to sign up to that one, that is at www.successfulshowgirl.com, okay? But I will put all the links below underneath the thread for this video. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Also, if you sign up to the course, the 297 course, then you'll also get 2 one-to-ones with me. You get a free month in the membership, so you get a free month of all the dance tutorials and stuff as well. And you also get 10% off our retreats. So we've got a November retreat coming up. If you've already signed up to retreat, you'll still get your 10% off. Yeah. So if you join the course and you've already signed up to retreat, I'll still knock 10% off and refund it if you've paid in full. And we've also got an Ibiza retreat coming up, which is in September, which we're about to announce next week. Okay. So you'll get 10% off if you've signed up to the course on any retreats as well. So hopefully I'll see loads of you there. But if not, you know that there's always free tutorials in the YouTube channel and in the announcements of the group. So you can always get a little bit of free advice there. I do one-to-one. So if you wanted a one-to-one with me, you can always just drop me a DM and we can organise a one-to-one session. But it's been a long week. Everybody's worked so hard. It could have been a really bad week for me because I had some like really horrible things happen at the beginning of the week. But this challenge has like really cheered me up. Everyone's like absolutely smashed it. So I'm really pleased with everybody. It's made my week. It's time for a rest now for the weekend. So I'll see you at 3 o'clock today because I'm going to do a quick cheeky live just to remind everybody about all the courses and stuff. But otherwise, have a wonderful bank holiday weekend. And I'll see you all on Tuesday. Bye.